Live from the MD Broadcasting Center, Manila.
Good morning, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
This is Cassandra Abala.
And this is Lance Nicole G. de Guzman, serving you news that count from people who care.
A cooperative in Mindanao is said to be helping people to get rich. Or is it another scam? Here's Hannah Fajardo for the details.
Thank you, Ms. Abala. Another investment cooperative seems to be a scam. After what happened to the former Kappa investment scam done by Kappa Cooperative, it is all happening again to the investors of Alamco or Alabel Maasim Credit Cooperative. Let us keep her identity under the name Marites, an OFW that has been scammed with her life savings and work gratuity in the promise of a lifetime stability. Good morning, Marites. Can you share with us what happened? How did you find out about this cooperative and start investing?
Good morning to you as well. Well, at the time of one of my colleagues originally from General Santos City was involved, specifically his wife. There were members of the cooperative. They have at least 15 members since to establish a co-op. The minimum required number is 50. They showed us that they were able to buy a new house, lot, with the help of their investment through their credit cooperative. As a person that wished to retire at the age of 40, of course you wouldn't be interested. It is true that it is too good to be true, and anyone would be skeptical of a 20% return on investment after only 3 months. But after seeing my office mate for over 5 years, who I treat as a family member, they are able to collect back and what they invested. Of course, you will trust it. At first, I gave 20,000 pesos as a start to be locked in for 3 months, which I gained and collected 30,000 pesos in return. Who wouldn't be happy to gain such a profit from it? Next, I tried placing in 100,000 pesos again to be locked in for 3 months. From that, I was able to buy a motorcycle from my brother. I started feeling too comfortable in placing a larger sum of money. And by the end, I placed my whole life savings and work graduate from working 5 years overseas as my final investment. I think that once I collect the money from being locked in for 6 months, I will have the capital to start up my business and settle in the Philippines with my family. But 6 months have passed, and they kept on saying that there have been delays, an audit, Christmas break, and all kinds of occasions that you could think of. Then I found out that I wasn't alone, that this has been a scam all along. It collects money from new investors to be given to the old ones and to encourage more to join. All in all, I gave up almost 4 million pesos of my own money to scammers.
As you say, one of your colleagues' wives is a member of the cooperative. Didn't they help you with collecting the money?
Well, by that time, he retired since he said that they were able to start up a business from cooperative, and it's been hard for me to contact them ever since. I didn't just lose money, but also my family and trust to people.
Well, I truly feel bad about what you've been going through, and I just hope that you will get the justice that you deserve. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our viewers about joining a cooperative?
I hope that I will set an example for those who wish to invest or join any cooperative groups in the future. It is true that things may be too good to be true.
Thank you, Marites, for sharing us with your story today, and we hope that you will be showered with more blessings than you expected. It's a sad thing that the principles of cooperative are some overlooked and ignored. So for those viewers, always be observative of what our kind cooperative are you joining in. They should always meet up the principles that every cooperative should have, like open and voluntary membership, democratic member control, member economic participation, limited interest in the capital, division of net surplus, education, training and information, cooperation among cooperatives, and lastly, concern for community. Back to you, Mr. Guzman.
Greenish Take Home Bestsellers! Pasensya, istorbo.
Trabaho lang po.
Thank you, Hannah Fajardo. How we wish that Miss Marites would be set an example for those who dream. And we should always do our research to know more about it and be guided. Let us learn what is really a cooperative. Here's Erica Manuel with all the details.
Did you know that the word cooperative is derived from the Latin words co, which means together, and operari, which means to work? The term co-op is a shortened word for cooperative and is used when people work together. And in the Philippines alone, there are a total of 20 types of cooperatives that are determined and acknowledged by the CDA, or Cooperative Development Authority. But before we talk about the 20 types, let me explain what Cooperative Development Authority is. They are government agency attached to the Office of the President of the Philippines in charge of promoting the viability and growth of cooperatives in the country. Here with me today is Joshua Prado, a representative from the CDA who can help us learn and talk more about the different kinds of cooperatives. Good morning to you, Joshua Prado.
Good morning to you as well, Ms. Manuel. Thank you so much for having me today. And we are quite ecstatic in the CDA that people are getting interested in knowing more about cooperatives.
Well, we are also happy to have you in today. But before we start, can you tell us a little about what will be the benefit of joining a cooperative? Is it similar, let's say, to a brotherhood?
Well, from the word itself, cooperative, you can associate it similarly to a brotherhood that helps together towards a common goal and that is built to help its member gain access and make resources more available to them.
What can you say is the most common type of cooperative in the Philippines? And how do they function?
Once they hear the phrase cooperative, a lot more things become familiar to everyone. For instance, credit cooperative encourages and offers lending and saving services to its members, or a producers cooperative and a cooperative for consumers. While the first one functions something like a cooperative and purchases and distributes goods, and the latter engage in joint production to cut production costs and give its members a larger return of money. According to what I know, the multi-purpose cooperative is the most common kind of cooperative. It essentially combines two or more different forms of business activity collaborations. Let's say they combine type of cooperative together and to function it as a whole. Like they will combine agrarian reform cooperative, for example. They are basically marginal farmers that benefit from agrarian reform for the purpose of developing a system of land tenure.
That's interesting. I would think that it will be the electric cooperative which I know was created for the primary purpose of undertaking power generation, utilizing operation and distribution of electricity to its members, or the water service cooperative, which are the ones that manage and operate their own water systems for their members.
Well, technically, you could say that since they are one of the biggest profit-earning cooperatives in the country. I would think that most people will not guess that they are also
Greenish Take Home!
cooperatives and the consumers are basically like their members.
Funny how we really haven't tried it enumerating one by one, but we already talked about like 9 or 10 types out of 20. Those are credit, consumer, producer, multi-purpose, agrarian reform, fisherman, cooperative bank, electric, what else? Water.
Don't forget the dairy cooperative.
Oh yes, well that's 10. So can you tell us a little more about the remaining 10?
Of course, I would be delighted. So we also have a marketing cooperative that helps to market the material to each member. Another one is service cooperative, which targets and aims to provide services to people. Of course, we could never forget about the advocacy cooperative that promotes cooperation among its members and the public through outreach programs and socially oriented projects. We also have the common ones, which are workers cooperative and transport cooperative from the word itself. Let me see what else I am thinking. Of course, education cooperative. We also have a financial services cooperative that aims to engage in savings, credit, and a financial service for its members. The housing cooperative aims to assist or provide access to housing for the benefit of its regular members. The last two are health services that is organized for the primary purpose of providing medical and insurance cooperatives. The ones that are engaged in the business of insuring life and property of cooperative and their members. So we have quite a lot of types in the Philippines alone, but we are happy in the CDA that we are able to facilitate them. All cooperatives credited and acknowledged by the CDA are well performing and especially safe to join.
Thank you so much, Joshua Prado. And I personally learned a lot today. We are really truly grateful to have you in today and how to interview in person someday so we can talk about cooperatives a little deeper. So, how about you, Christina Bala and Nicole de Guzman? Did you learn something today?
Thank you, Erica Manuel and Mr. Joshua Prado. Of course, we learned about the different type of cooperatives.
In other news, a museum in Manila will open its doors on January 1st, 2023. As the new year starts, new painting will be introduced to the public. Elaine Palaganas will tell us all about it.
Thank you, Ms. Cassandra Abala. We have a great opportunity to preview the 4 new paintings that will be showcased as a part of the opening of this museum in the new year. The 4 new portraits of the pioneers in the cooperative will be placed in the main hall to educate more people who are the brains that started the idea of it all. First, we have here Robert Owen, a British utopian socialist that is considered to be the father of cooperative movement. His book, The New Moral World, contains the most complete statement of his doctrines about cooperatives. Next one, we have Claude Henry de Rouvray Saint-Simon, a French socialist born in Paris, France. He is considered one of the founders of modern socialism. His writings present arguments in the favor of social organization directed by men of science and industry for the benefit of the whole society. Next, here we have Jean-Joseph Charles Louis Blanc, a French socialist, leader, and historian. Blanc formulated the social principle later adopted by Karl Marx, from each according to his abilities, for each according to his needs. Blanc believed that his principle could be realized through the creation of social workshops, associations of workers financed by the state and controlled by the workers. Lastly, we have here Francois-Marie Charles Fourier. His work Theories des Quatre Mouvements et des Destins Generals, or Theory of the Four Movements and of General Destinies. The system known as Fourierism is based on his belief in a universal principle of harmony displayed in 4 areas: the material universe, organic life, animal life, and human society. So these are the 4 new paintings that this museum acquired from Europe that will be shared with the public in the year 2023. And we hope that people will come and enjoy this wonderful history with us. Return to studio.
Thank you for that wonderful insight. I'm sure a lot of people will be visiting the museum in the new year. And for the weather, our resident forecaster Karen will share with us what's happening around the coast. Karen?
I'm here at Barry Island Beach, and there's no sign to stop.
So, I think we lost Karen there. We will try to get her back later.
Another rags to riches story that will truly inspire us as our next reporter shares the story of how this entrepreneur started and has emerged triumphantly from a poor young woman of no means but perseverance into one of the most successful and respected businesswoman in the country.
Ako po si Aubrey Armovet, nangungutang noon. Inuutangan na rin.
isang dating umuutang lamang sa kanilang credit cooperative para makapagsimula ng negosyo. Upang mabuksan ang pangarap niyang maliit na water refilling station sa kanilang barangay, ngayon ay may-ari na ng hindi lang isa kundi 30 water refilling station sa iba't ibang lugar sa bansa. Sino ba siya? Kilalanin natin si Aubrey Christie Armovet at para makwento niya ang kanyang buhay.
Ako po si Aubrey Armovet, nagsimula sa hirap, nangarap, at ngayon nakaabot na. Nag-iibon lang po ako dati mga kasayang pero simula nung makasali ako sa buong namin ay mas sa natulungan nila akong matupad ng aking pangarap. Nagkaroon din po ako ng opportunity sa buhay at nagkaroon ng bago. Pagdating naman po sa co-op ay may dalawang klase lang po ng membership, na po yung regular at associate. Bilang isa din po kung primary at regular, may kapagyari kami po ng time yun na bumababa ang interest rate at mahaba ang ating revenue. Dahil doon ay napapasyahan na din po maghirap na para mapatay ko na po ang mangarap ko water refilling station. Kung ako po ay isang associate member lamang po patutunayin ay although sinuwerte na dahil sa more than 2 years na ako sa cooperative at the time of elections. Kaya regular na po ako noon. Kasi kung associate member ka lang ay walang karamot ng boto at hindi lang may isa sa ayos. Ang pagbabago nandun sa pagpapakuha.
Kaya sa simpleng utak, napadami ni Aubrey Christie Armovet ang kanyang mga negosyo. Isang tunay na rags to riches story, yan naman ang natunghayan natin ngayong araw. Kaya't magpakina ng loob at laging magdasal sa ating Panginoon.
For our throwback news today, do you know that we have two specific Republic Acts to oversee and protect the cooperatives established in the country? We have RA 6938, otherwise known as the New Cooperative Code of the Philippines. This law was enacted on March 10, 1990 to foster the creation and growth of cooperatives as a practical vehicles for promoting self-reliance and harnessing people's power
Greenish Take-Home!
Ay, nakita na niya to.
Sorry.
toward the attainment of economic development and social justice. Later on, it was amended with RA 9520, also known as the Philippine Cooperative Code of 2008, which was made effective on March 22, 2009. RA 6938 is still basically intact with the inclusion of provisions on representative assembly, subsidiary cooperative, and financial service cooperative, to cite a few amendments. That's our throwback news today, and this has been Cassandra Abala.
And this has been Lance Nicole G. de Guzman.
See you again next time for another day of news without bias, news with no exemption, and news that come from people who care.
This has been DMV News.
Thank you and God bless.